Hey YouTube, it's me, Jen, your Pudgy Picker,
And Kimberly.
Just Kim. We're gonna have to come up with a nickname,
I know.
like Pudgy Picker Sister.
Oh, well, that's real.
Pudgier Picker.
Oh, we're going downhill from there.
Boy,
Okay.
I'll start on you early tonight.
Thanks.
Anyway, so we're here again for another podcast. Two sisters.
One booth.
And this week we are at podcast number 20.
Yee.
And we are talking today about, and I just closed my book. There we go. When we find items, are we selling them on eBay or a booth? And how do we decide?
Yep.
So if you do sell at a booth or you're thinking about it, and you're listening to this podcast, you may or may not sell on eBay. A lot of people do, and both Kim and I do. So that is something that we are always looking for things for eBay as well as for our booth.
Well, I think part of it, too, is because we find really neat stuff, but it's like, that, I don't think that would sell at our booth. But it's really cool, so then that gives us a way of picking up something we know that somebody would be interested in, but may not necessarily fit into our scheme of our booth.
Or you can get something that you know would sell in the booth, but not for nearly as much as you would get on eBay.
Correct.
So when you think about our booth, you have a certain number of people that are coming into the store and milling around from day to day or week to week. On eBay, you have, well, think about it this way. If you have a lot of people coming into the booth or into your antique mall, you have a better chance of selling something because there's less competition. And on eBay, you have a lot more people looking, but there's a lot more competition.
Yeah.
So and the different audience, the different draw, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So I always say
pros and cons, both sides.
Yeah. I always say it's nice to have more than one venue to sell at. Some people will sell on, have an antique booth, eBay, Etsy, Bonanza. There's other venues to sell in, or if you decide to do like Craigslist or local for your Facebook, or there's like certain yard sale on Facebook for different areas. So it's nice when you're out looking to be able to have more than one place to sell something.
Yep.
First thing that comes to my mind is furniture or larger pieces.
Oh, yeah.
You can do that on Facebook or on eBay, and you could do local pickup. I've never really done that. And I know there are some eBayers who do that.
Yep.
And it really depends on where you live.
Yes.
I mean, if you live in the boondocks,
nobody's going to want to drive there.
Nobody wants your dresser that bad.
But you know what? I had a mattress I was giving away one time, and I had a lady drive over a half hour to get a twin-size mattress.
But that was free.
Yeah, but still, that's,
Or it wasn't free, it was free. Anyway, yeah, like I mention occasionally Scavenger Life. They live about an hour outside of D.C., so when they have something higher end or nice to sell, they've had people literally drive several states to get it. Yeah. So again, it depends on what you're selling and, how far you are from a city. Where I live, east of Cleveland, I am like less than 15 minutes away from the city.
Oh, you are. Yeah.
So that's, you then you get people from the city, or you can get people on the west side of the city. So I don't think it's too bad for us, maybe, if we did that. But I don't know, I guess I'd rather just, for safety's sake, otherwise, just to have it, in the store is a nice way of doing it. Mm-hmm. And we don't really have that much furniture. I mean, we have occasional, larger pieces, but a lot of times we have little side tables or that kind of thing.
Yeah, that'll fit in our booth. That's the other thing, too. I've bought some stuff that I knew was vintage or rare, and it was a good size.
Yeah.
And I looked it up and knew it would sell on eBay for a good nickel. So I have on occasion, though, brought it into the store and priced it for what I'd price it for on eBay, of course, without the shipping. Sometimes just because I'm like, well, I'll store it here instead of somewhere else, and if it don't sell here, I'll take it home and list it. And I've sold most of them with that mindset. I
Yeah.
ended up selling there.
See, that's a good way to do it, because I know I've had things at the booth and then decided to put them on eBay, or the other way around. And it's kind of nice to, if you have something and you're kind of not sure where you want to sell it,
Yeah.
you know, take it up to the store and let it sit there. So it's, you know, there are some good points into having more than one place to sell. I guess what I think of too is when I have my haul, I drag everything into the house and I put it on my dining room table and I do a video. And even at that point, a lot of people will say, "Hey, well, you have this, or that's worth this," and at that point, I haven't done any research on it.
You just go with your gut.
Yeah, I go with my gut, and hey, if it's only $1 or
and
$2,
sometimes that can be a mighty big England.
yeah,
Get you back from earlier.
it's one of those things that if I see something and I think it's kind of cool, I think we have been through enough of the learning
Yep.
curve that we're like, something's for $2. I'm not going to stand there debating it. It's certainly worth you
Yeah.
know trying out.
Or sometimes
So-
you may not know anything about it, but we've been at it long enough. You're like, there's something about this. It's going to sell, or it's
And I don't
really
see
well
this
made.
all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get it, or it's painted exceptionally well, or you just get a feeling with it. You go with it.
Yeah, so that's part of it too. And if we're, you know, garage selling or thrifting or whatever, you know, we have that option to go in and look at things. And when I bring them in, I set them on the table, and then after the fact, I do research. When I buy, I would say probably 80% of what I probably 80% of what I buy, I know where I'm going to sell it. And then I have that other 20% that's kind of
Yeah.
not real sure where I'm going to sell it yet. And of course, you start with your research on eBay to see, well, what is it selling for?
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of go from there, because we know basically what we can get for things out at our antique booth.
Yeah.
And if it's surprisingly more, or, you know,
Yeah.
when you're researching it on eBay, then you're gonna kind of have your answer as to, you know, what exactly, you know, it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think too, when I get things that are very specific,
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say that, then I will usually put them on eBay. I just found vintage pencil lead in containers, new, and I put that on eBay because it was a decent price for it. Plus, who's gonna know be looking for
Yeah.
that particular item there?
Yeah, in our booth, something that small would get lost easily, or
Yeah.
it could walk off easily. And in that case, on eBay, people are always looking for that type of vintage office supplies and stuff for either their collections or to set out on a desk, or even have sold stuff to prop companies or people that are looking for things for movie
Yep.
parts and stuff. So those, I believe it or not, and I remember we're talking about that a long time with you about those metal paint,
Mm-hmm.
like we used to have when we were in school 100 years ago. They were in a little flip open metal container.
Yep.
Before the plastic inserts were in them even, and those sell, and you know, especially if they're not used. But yeah, a lot of those
old
vintagey things.
pencil
Yep.
pencil
Pencils.
boxes,
Mhm.
even if they're metal or paper.
Yep.
I just recently sold. I can't think of what the name of them was, but it was a cardboard box, and I think there was only 7 pencils in them. They had 10 or 12 originally, and I sold them for $30.
Yep. It's crazy.
It
People will pay
is.
for
It's-
stuff like that, but
But like Kim said, something like that, it would get kind of lost. And I think too, maybe, and this may be a generalization, but people are kind of more impulse shopping, or I'm gonna look and see what interests me.
yeah.
I don't know how many people might come in and say, "Oh, I need a table, or I need a chair, or I need a picture this particular size for this particular room." But I think a lot of times when it comes to the antique mall, people are just kind of looking around for a gift, or, "Oh, that's interesting. I could find a place to put that at home."
Yeah.
They don't come in there with a specific, "This is what I'm going to buy." And I think eBay can be that way, because if you need a replacement part, or there's something specific you're looking for, you can go on there and type in the model number or whatever you need to put in there and come up with the specific item you're looking for.
Then again, that shows the different types of shoppers. We were talking before about knowing your audience, knowing who's shopping with you, and that's it. A lot of people that come into our store, they may be like with me. In the back of my head, I'm like, I'm going to keep looking because one of these days I'm going to find something this size,
the
this
running
color.
list.
Yes, exactly. So, they come in with this idea of, well, maybe they'll have what I'm looking for, but they're also looking around and shopping, and whatever else can catch their eye, they'll buy. On eBay, it's not easy to casual shop. You go in and you have to look by category, by whatever. So, yes, it's wonderful to find a replacement part or something specific, but how many opportunities are missed because they're not just in there bumming around like you're walking through a store and go, oh, wow, look at that.
Yeah, and your wallet's going, no.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's, again, knowing your consumer base, what they're looking for.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, because I know some people come in and say, I've been looking for a piece of furniture this particular size for this room forever, and I found it today.
Yep.
In fact, on our Facebook page for the store, there was somebody who said, I was there last week and I found something I've been looking for all summer.
There you go.
And I don't know particular what it was, but there you go.
Yeah.
But if you're like, okay, I want to look at shirts. You pull it up, women's clothes, you put in your size. You can even put in a color, long sleeve, short sleeve, t-shirt, blouse, very, and in that instance you can browse. But as far as like a department store, you just walk in and go, oh, wow, look at that. And you keep walking, oh, well, look at that. And it's a total different item. So, I don't know. That could be considered a good thing, bad thing, or whatever. Yeah. But when it comes to our booth, you walk in and it's an experience.
Yes.
You look around.
That's emotional. That's impulse buying there.
Oh, yeah. It's very much, I think, impulse.
I mean, I just sold that strawberry teapot that I've had there for a while.
Yep.
And how many people are going to go out specifically looking for that strawberry
I need
teapot?
A strawberry teapot.
Yes. I mean, it was a metal one that you put on the stove and heat up your water. So that, in most cases, was an impulse buy. They liked strawberries or knew someone who did.
Yep.
And went, oh my gosh, that'll fit perfectly.
I didn't even know this existed, or I didn't even know I needed it till the moment I saw it.
Yep. Whistle and everything.
I used to jokingly tell Mr. Pudgy Picker that I needed to go shopping or I needed something, and he says, what do you need? And I'd always say, I'll know when I see it.
I'll know when I get there.
Yeah, so that's kind of like, I don't think you need it then.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a big indication. So doing our research when we're not sure if we want to sell it on eBay or the booth, that is like our first clue as to, yep, I think this probably should go on eBay. Or, the booth the booth definitely, eBay to some extent is seasonal. People do sell winter things all year round.
Yeah, because especially if you sell worldwide, it's always going to be cold somewhere.
Yep, that's true.
Or someplace may be hot on the regular plane, but you go up to go skiing up higher where the snow is. So,
and if you live someplace like we do that has real seasons that change.
Oh, do they?
And if it's like August
sometimes
or September,
within hours.
Yeah, August, September, you're going to go somewhere warm on vacation. Yep. Good luck finding a swimsuit.
There you go.
So that kind of thing. So that's good for specifically going on eBay, and that's what you need, and you're going to find it. I think we try to stick closer to the seasons in our booth than we do on eBay.
Exactly. That's because you're physically here.
Yeah.
And you physically need whatever for physically here.
Well, plus you have a certain amount of room. Yeah. I mean, if you had a store, you could maybe linger on a season longer than you would. But when you have an eBay store, it's just a matter of having it listed and putting it away and then waiting for that customer to come along. It's not taking up physical space. And you're thinking, man, I got stuff that's seasonal that I know would sell quicker than this particular item that's, more of a season we're not in right now.
Yeah. Yeah, because, opposite side of the world, Australia right now is going through their winter. While we're in our hottest season, they're in their coldest. So,
Yeah.
And then vice versa.
They say it's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's winter somewhere.
That's it. That's it.
So yeah, that's something to keep in mind is the whole, seasonal or not seasonal. If you got that physical space, we're always talking about we have this certain size and making the most of it and changing the seasons. That's a big part of it.
It is.
So I don't know
Keeping
about
it
you.
relevant to what the shoppers are looking for.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I don't really have a lot of fall and winter stuff this year.
I know, I'm like, what am I going to put out there?
I really didn't find as much garage sailing as I normally do.
Well, you know what it was, too? The stuff that I was seeing was junk. This stuff you can go into Dollar Tree or the cheapy stores and get. And I'm sorry, I'm not.
It's one of millions that have been made and slapped together and sold.
So I didn't see quality, anything worth my money to buy.
That's true. Well, even this time of year, the thrift stores, I don't know how they do it, but I know when I went into Savers, they do the Halloween stuff. They just put that out because they must have did it on the weekend, because when I was in this past Monday, it was there.
Yeah.
And then I went, the first couple aisles in there had a lot of, used Halloween or fall stuff. So I was like,
I think
squirreling
they
that
hold
away.
It. Well, sweaters too. And when it gets closer to winter, you see them redo the racks with sweaters and hats and gloves. So I'm sure it would make sense. Just like any other retail, you're not going to try to sell wool mittens in July and August here.
Yeah,
because it ain't going to work.
Yeah, because I know Savers, they were having like sales on T-shirts. All their T-shirts are going to be like $1 or something, and then shorts too. They were like half-price shorts.
Yep.
So
I'm sure they sort it out and keep them in bins at a central warehouse somewhere.
Well, the one I'm thinking about, the first Savers I go to, there was a retail space next to them, and I don't know when's the last time you went out to the one I'm talking about.
Well, I know they were using it for storage.
They made a double opening with swing doors to come into the main store. You could still pull up past their entrance and donate. And then on the back wall, they put in a big opening where the toys are. Yeah. So I think they're kind of switching around how they do things. But, I mean, to some extent, when we have a physical space, we're kind of bound to that. Mm-hmm. And you want to put out things that people are looking for.
Well, yeah, because that's when they want to buy it.
Yeah, because you see people. There are people at our mall who do have Halloween, Christmas stuff out all year, and it just sits there. And I think by the time the season rolls around, people are tired of looking at it. So I don't know why people do that up there.
I think it's just the thought of taking it down and moving it. Those are usually people that don't do a lot rearranging the rest of the year in their booths either.
Yeah. Because that really doesn't work well for us, I don't think.
No.
So, yeah, we have a restocking day coming up, so it's a good Man, my mouth is not working today. It's a good chance to change things up, make any major moves you want to, that kind of thing. So yeah, I guess I would say research is where I start, and people say, well, how do you research? We've talked about this, and we don't necessarily always agree on how you research stuff, but the fact is, eBay is a good place to start.
Absolutely.
And talking about that here's pet peeve alert.
You don't want to hear whining and griping. Shut it off now.
It's when people go on eBay and they find the particular item they're going to sell at their garage sale, and they print out the paper and tape it on the item.
Yep, this is for sale right now on...
for $3 billion. It's like, you can ask anything you want to on eBay. That doesn't mean it's a sold item. That doesn't mean that that's the going rate. It just floors me. Because I'll always say, and I think I'm becoming kind of a smart aleck on the subject, I'll say, oh, you should sell that on eBay. And what do they always say?
I don't have time for that.
It's a lot of work. It's
a lot of work.
That's why you can ask more on eBay, because
Yep.
it's more work.
Yeah.
Brr.
And it's not always the same exact item, the same model, the same condition,
Yep.
in the package, out of the package, whatever.
Especially the same models. Things could
Oh.
have one particular thing off,
Yep.
and it could be worth twice as much, or it could be worth nothing at all.
Exactly.
So that kills me when I see that.
Yeah.
In fact, I was at a garage sale, and I'm trying to think if it was like a dish set. I think it was a stoneware like dish set, and they had a read off on there, and they had $1,400 or no, what was it? Like $3,000. This is how much it is, and they had $700. And Connor, my son, said, "So how many people walk into a garage sale with $700 in cash?" And I go, "Not me."
Yep. Now, if you said it was, $1,000 on eBay, but I'm selling it for $30, I might be interested.
Yeah.
In it.
So
What a deal!
you know what?
Snag
When
it
I
up.
was at a garage sale last week, I saw a set of dishes Mom had, and I'm starting to look for a new set of dishes because mine are old and chipped and gross. And they had a set that Mom used to have.
Which ones?
It was different earth tones, and it was like a flower, and the petals on the flower were white, and it had like brown, like squiggle. Not those ugly.
Not the
ones.
ugly, but
No,
that's what
not
I'm
the-
thinking. I'm
no,
like,
no, no, no.
you are not going back to
No,
that. I
these
will
were
not let you.
These were really pretty, and I was like, I'm thinking about it, and then I was like, I gotta lug them to my car, and it's hot. So I kind of lazed out on that one, but it was one of those ones years ago that for a couple of weeks, like 2 weeks at a time, they would say, if you buy $50 in groceries, you can buy this gorgeous new plate for $2.
Yep.
So for a couple of weeks you'd have plates, and then the next week you'd have bowls, and then the next couple of weeks you'd have mugs.
Yep.
So you could
And butter
essentially,
dishes and
you could
creamer,
essentially
coffee.
over
Yep.
maybe a summer or 4 months, you would have a new set of dishes, and Mom would do that. And so I
Yep.
think it was one of those.
Probably so.
So
Because years ago they used to have like bath sheets and bath towels and stuff in the soap, and then the grocery store started doing that sort of thing. That's when you could go to the gas station and get a fill up and buy a souvenir glass or a specialty glass or toy for a few dollars.
I don't remember.
You don't
that.
of course, because I am a little wiser. I shan't say older. But
Gas stations.
wiser.
I thought you rode dinosaurs.
Oh.
That turned into oil. No, but it's funny because I remember that because Mom would be like, "Oh, this week they're changing to, to bowls, so I got to get, And it was nice too because you got to buy groceries anyway, and for a couple of extra bucks here and there, you get a new set of dishes. So it
Then
was
people
kinda
stopped
cool.
buying dishes, and then they went to dolls. They sold dolls like that for a while.
Really? I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
and they had these stuffed animals, stuffed bears, Barrington Bears, and then they even did books for a long time. And then I don't think they do
now,
that
I think
anymore.
I remember books.
Yep.
I think I do remember.
So it was like, well,
books.
this ain't working. Let's switch to something. Well, that one didn't work good. Let's switch to something else.
Yeah, because the dishes, I know Mom, there was several
Yeah.
sets she had gotten over the years. And when I go looking for dishes, I don't need mugs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need the dishes
Yeah,
with
'cause
the
you don't
ridge
drink
that the
coffee.
mugs sit on. Well, they're too tiny anyway, even if you did
That's
drink
true.
coffee.
That's
I mean,
good.
I'm only looking for certain pieces, and when you go and it's like a 20-piece set or 24, yeah, but there's a lot of pieces in there I'm not going to use. Because I mainly need dinner plates, smaller plates, and bowls
Mhm.
is all I really use, But anyway, but it's neat to go. You can go into any of the thrift stores and you can say, "Oh, Mom had that, and my grandma had that. My grandma used to have the Corelle dishes, the white ones with the little green flowers around the outside."
Oh yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. Or Grandma Pearl had the ones with the wheat
yeah,
ones.
yeah.
I don't know what you call that, but you're talking about the white dish with the little flowers on it.
Yes, with itty bitty little little green flowers, like the color of my kitchen green.
Oh, I'm not sure about the green flower. I was thinking about the other ones that I used to have were whitish, and I had a whole slew of those.
Yeah.
My daughter took those. What I meant.
I think think I had tan ones with like the hearts on them or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're off on a tangent.
Yeah.
But the point being is, when you go in there and it says, eBay, wow, it's, thousands of dollars on eBay, but you can get it for only 50 here, and you're like, yeah. Or if you see them priced at the price that you would sell them at, and it's like, no, not so much. So, so doing your research, that gives you a real big indication which one you want to sell it on.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly think if I didn't sell on eBay, boy, I would buy a lot less.
Yeah.
Than I do.
Wouldn't be as much fun either.
Yeah.
Because that's how we find some of that really crazy stuff wouldn't sell up there, but will sell on eBay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, some really odd things. It's funny because whenever I tell anybody what I do for a living, they always say, well, what do you buy at garage sales, or what sells? And I say, you ever go to a garage sale and you see some things and you go, boy, that's really weird. Who in the world would buy that? And I said, that's me. If it's strange, weird,
that's what you want
I'll
to buy.
buy it. And I know that ugly stuffed
Ugly
monkey
sells. Yep.
I got that was from the 50s. That thing was the stuff of nightmares. I got it at an auction for $5 or $6?
Yep.
And it sold for like $150, $175 on eBay. There ain't no way I could have got that. Because how many people are specifically looking for that particular item?
When we were, when we had the other booth and you had that, you had picked up a cookie jar that was a deer head or something, and you brought it up there and you were like, well, it's kind of, it was like a Rudolph deer, or and it was crazed, and it was, had a couple chips and this, that, and the other, and you said, this thing, I should get rid of it, I should just throw it away or donate it, and I said, no, look this thing up on eBay, and it was a lot, and you sold it.
Oh,
you ended up,
that.
You don't remember
No,
that.
I don't remember
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, cookie jar.
Well, that was pretty awesome of me.
I know.
Yeah, you just don't know. And you think about, like, if I had something that was that old, even if it was in really good shape and you're going to get more on eBay, you can sell it on eBay, or if it's chipped and you want to, as long as you, of course, disclose the condition. But I think I've changed my way of thinking on those things, because there's people who want that stuff, but they can't afford one that's in pristine condition for $150.
Or they're starting their collections.
Yeah.
And
or it's something that brings back a memory, and they don't necessarily have to have it in a collector condition. So, there's that, that mentality as well.
Yep.
So, and if you have something that you think, well, maybe I'll sell it on eBay, I'll take it to the booth for now. And then I know I had was it a Spyro something with the eagle, and it had the convex mirror on it. I sold that on eBay, and I had it for maybe a little bit less at the booth, and it sat and it sat and it sat. So, needed someone to be looking for that particular item on eBay. So, so it is kind of a call of what you want to do. And if you think about it, and you do have a space in an antique mall, and you want to start selling on eBay, you can easily dip your toe in the water by having a few things that, you think, well, I did the research, and I think I'm going to get more if I sell it online as opposed to my booth. Give it a try. It's certainly worth it. I know some people have told me that they put things in the booth that are very delicate that they're afraid to sell.
Yeah, they're afraid to pack it.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to the point I could pack practically anything, and it'll get there safe.
Well, that vintage antique push, it was like it was a child's toy, and it was sort of like a high chair kind of a basket, like remember, like a grocery store kind of basket, but it was old. And that was one of those, it's such an odd shape. How in the world would I pack that and sell it? That's why I was like, you know what? I'll just take it up there for now. And that's, that realtor that comes in all the time, she bought it, wasn't even out there a week and a half, and it was gone. She bought it for her collection. So, yep.
Yeah, it's really neat.
Saved me from packing it up.
Yeah. Yeah, so, there's a lot of consideration in that, but it's kind of a personal call. Just, some people only sell on eBay. Some people only sell in a physical space or locally, in the internet.
Because they're afraid to try something new, or scared to too much to learn, or
And I always tell people when they talk about eBay, they're like, "Oh, I used to sell in there years ago, and it was just so hard, and this and that." And I tell people, if you haven't sold on eBay in the last 2 to 3 years,
Yep.
you haven't sold on eBay. It's a total different animal than it used to be. And with the international shipping, global shipping program, and so many other things, there is way more seller protection than there used to be.
Yeah.
Is there still things happening that, you're getting scammed? Yes, it's going to happen. But just as in a physical space, we have things that people steal.
Yep. Or break. Or
Yeah. So, I mean,
Yep.
you think, oh, well, if I sell in a physical space, then that's not going to happen. Well, there's other things,
Yeah.
like stealing or breakage or other things that, so neither way is 100% the best way to go.
Because you got imperfect humans running an imperfect situation, and you have people always out trying to get more than what they deserve or want to pay for.
Yeah, and things do get stolen, and it's not like, oh, this is a super valuable item. They take the dumbest things.
Yep.
So, and I'm sure we only know of maybe 30%
Well,
of what walks out the door. I'm
yeah.
sure there's a lot
You get
that
so
we
much
don't
more.
realize. I probably don't want to know.
No, because we get mad enough when you do realize that they've stole it and stuck
Yeah.
the wrapper in a something with a hole in it. Opening a butter dish or whatever.
Yeah.
You and your jewelry, finding your jewelry tags everywhere.
Yeah. So, both places have their strong points and both places have their drawbacks. But, if you haven't sold on eBay in some time, think about doing it. And, put things on there. You don't have to have, an anchor store. You don't have to have, a million listings. Do as much as you're comfortable with. When we were in a previous mall and we left in June of that particular year, and then September 1st is when our new space opened, I had that summer off, and I was shopping like I was still shopping for eBay and the booth.
Yep.
Because I knew we were going to eventually get into our new place that we're in now. And it was an opportunity for me to build up my store. And I probably got up to about maybe 400 items in my store. And since we opened, and we've been there for 2 years now?
Be 2 years in September.
Yeah,
Next
so
month.
2 years, I've built up my store, and I'm just under 600. I try and keep it right around then. But that's the point. I mean, once you get it to a certain point, it's a matter of maintaining it. So, it's a certain amount of work, just like anything is. Just like having a space is a certain amount of work.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I mean, if that's something you want to do, and plus you're gonna make more money. If you're selling on more than one platform. And I would say probably dollar for dollar, I think I do make more money on eBay than I do in my booth.
Yeah.
But between the booth and eBay, I'm essentially working full time.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's like anything in life. You don't always want to put all of your eggs in the same basket.
yep,
And people that have been eBaying for years will tell people the same thing. You don't have to do everything on eBay, and you can do other selling on wherever what other platforms you want to, like Etsy or all those others, because you never know when your circumstances are going to change, or the rules in one change, or I think of Amazon.
yep.
And those rules have changed 100 times,
yeah.
and even got more stricter, more fees, more whatever. And a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, what am I going to do
That's all
now?"
I was doing, yeah.
So
Yep.
if you don't have all of your eggs in one basket, then you can always know that you still got something going. If something else starts to go, then you're not high and dry with no way to sell your stuff.
Yeah, I actually do have about 50 things listed on Amazon, and I do merchant fulfilled. So I wasn't, didn't go through all the stuff that people did who were sending
Yeah.
boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff
'Cause
for
a lot of people
fulfillment by Amazon.
Thought that was great and easy. You just
Oh, it
pack
was.
it up and you send it. And
Yeah,
you don't have to
I don't
worry
have to
about
store
it.
it. I don't have to look at it. I don't have to ship
Yeah.
it, other than one time.
Yeah.
So I never did FBA, and I do merchant fulfilled. So I do have, like I said, about 50 items, and they aren't selling too great. The fees are high, but it all depends on what you're selling,
Yeah.
what your business model is, where you're getting your inventory from.
That's a big part of it right there.
I think part of the thing that never really got me super gung-ho for FBA, like a lot of people, and please don't hate me when I say this, is a lot of people were going to places and just scanning. That's not fun to me.
No.
I want to go and look at things and pick it up and touch it and put it in my cart and keep looking. I don't want to stand there in one spot in the book department and just beep, beep, beep.
Yep.
I mean, that's not, people have argued, oh, that's not even sourcing. It's sourcing, but that's not what I wanted to do. That's not enjoyable to me.
It's like anything else in life. Some people love to go to the library and just walk in the aisles and go dig through the books one at a time and sit and read, and I could care less about reading. I could care less about reading. So, everything in life, everybody has their little things that they enjoy doing. So if you enjoy standing there and scanning because it's quick and it's easy and you don't have to put a lot of thought into it and you can put it in your cart and send it in and you make money, then have at it, honey, because when you're doing that, I'm out there doing something else and making my own money.
Yeah, because I'd say there's so much of my job when it comes to selling in a space and on eBay that I just love. And that would not be something I would love. And even, I can honestly say, I rarely look things up in the store. Once in a while,
yeah, especially if it's a little higher than I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, and if it's one of those, it's more than a couple of bucks,
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
I think I better look.
Yep.
And, so those few items, but I would say in a month's time, I look up maybe 5 items while I'm in the store for the whole month. Because mostly I pretty much know what I want to get or know what I think I'm going to get.
Yep.
And like you said, you get something a little higher, but man, this just really looks interesting, and I'm sure maybe it'll go for more. And sometimes you look up and you're like, yes, and other times you're like, ooh,
I was going to say, most
down.
of the time I'm like, no, this isn't worth my time.
Yeah.
To buy it and source it and pack it and clean it and, no.
And you think a lot of people, oh, it says Japan on it. Oh, this is vintage. Oh, this is this and that. Or, oh, this is still new in the package. It's not any of those things signify, big dollar signs.
What I've said before is like one of our thrift stores local, they get donations from the Target, which is we have one right across the street from it, so I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, literally right
they
across the street.
They literally, give them, it's a tax write-off for the store, and they get rid of their junk, and it ends up. Well, if it's been on clearance and it's got their sale and marked down stickers and it's down to a few dollars from them, if it hasn't, in most cases, if it hasn't sold over there, you don't have as good of a chance of selling it yourself because nobody else wants it.
Yeah, and some of those things are so beat up and manhandled and pushed around and dropped on the floor, and they look like someone played hockey with them. It's just... and then you think, man, for another extra $2-3, I can go across the street and buy the dumb thing new.
That's my other problem with that, because it's like, if I wanted it to pay that kind of money, I'd go over there and buy it.
Yeah.
I just don't understand that.
I am glad that they don't put it in that they don't throw it out and put it in the landfill. But
a lot of that stuff, though, you know how long I see it sitting there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because it's still higher than what I would have wanted to buy it for on sale over there.
Even if it's dishes or anything, it gets chipped up because, products that are sold in a thrift store, they're really put through the ringer.
Yes.
They're moved around and they're, people pick them up, knock them over, drop stuff on them. It's not like you're shopping, at, Neiman Marcus or something. Stuff gets beat up in there. And that's, I don't know. but it's, I don't know. I guess it's good they're not throwing it away, but you think that they'd mark it down less, and they're getting it for free. Okay, we're not going to rant about anything else today. But, so I guess that's our gist on it. Do we have anything else to add on that?
Well, I think we've probably
We've beat the horse.
We've chewed it up and spit it out and chewed it up again. I think we're good.
Or as Dad used to say, we'll ruminate on it.
Mm.
So you always felt fancy when you said that. You're talking about a cow chewing on its
Well,
cud. That's ruminating.
I know. I'm sitting here thinking, how fancy can that be when you're talking about?
We will mentally ruminate upon that.
It sounds fancier than it is.
Yeah, it is. Anything's fancy when you say it with an English accent.
Well. Oh, okay. Jolly
so yeah, if you have any questions or anything, leave them down below. I've often had people say, "Well, what do you do for research? How do you do?" I would say most of the time I'm looking on eBay, and a lot of times if you can't find something on eBay, that's kind of a good sign because it's very, very difficult to buy something that people don't have a million of.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we'd find some, and oh man, this is old, and it's been around a while, and there's only probably 100 in the world, and you look it up, and there's 20 pages of it. You're like, okay, guess not.
Well, see, that's another one of those times changing, and you don't get as much money for stuff now either because eBay changed the way
it's a world
people,
market.
Yeah. Before you wouldn't see it in an area maybe your area wasn't one that you carried or had a lot of those items, and so yeah, that was a rare find, but now you go on eBay and look it up, and there's thousands of them listed there.
The one thing I think of is a boot jack. I've had, if you don't know what it is, Google it. But whenever I find any boot jacks, no matter what they are, if they're old or newer, I always end up taking them to our booth because they don't fetch that much of a price on eBay. Even if they're like older, really cool looking ones, they may, if they're metal or whatever, but it's just one of those things. You don't know till you look it up and see what basically what it's going for, and if you think you can do better in a physical space. So, yeah. So that's the question of the week. What is a boot jack? If you're from Montana, you think everybody knows, but they don't. They don't know that. In Ohio, not so much.
I was going to say, are you from Montana?
No, I'm not from Montana. That and you're going to laugh because I know you're the same way. We'll go into a store, and like a thrift store, and if we're looking, you're going to pick something up, and you're going to stand there and look at it and try and figure out what the heck it is.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm that way, and I know that the first time I saw a boot jack, it took forever for me to figure out what it was. And I was just fascinated by that, and I thought that was the coolest thing.
It's kind of funny because there's so much stuff that you get in your head after a time you don't even know. You don't remember when you learned it, how you learned it, and it seems like everybody and their brother should know what it is.
Yeah.
So when you go, what? You don't know?
Yeah. Everybody knows that. No, they don't.
No.
Whenever I find a boot jack at a thrift store, when I go through the line, I always ask the person checking out. I'm like, well, I'll just give you a quiz. You know what this is? No. And then I tell them, and they're like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yep.
So.
Comes in handy. How many times you're sitting there trying to yank a tight boot off your foot?
Yep. Many years ago when my dad was a highway patrolman, he had leather boots that went up pretty high.
Almost to his knee.
Yeah, and to take them suckers off, man.
Yep.
Woo! It's the old, straddle one leg and you put the one foot on your rear end and give you a shove to get that stupid boot off.
And they were the same, they were like fitted to I swear they were fitted to your calf. And he wore them for so many years that he ended up not having much hair on his legs.
Rubbed it off.
Yeah, because it rubbed it all off.
So is that why I never...
Well, that's what Mom always said. And whether that's true or not, I don't know. But that's what she always said. It was from the boots.
Funny. Well, you figure back then when you bought a leather boot, it hurt and it didn't fit for a while. And then it eventually gave to your... like nobody else could put your shoe on then because it wasn't the same as your foot had modeled it to be.
It was calf skin on your calf skin.
Yeah. Ooh, I had to think about that one.
I saw the wheels turning.
Yeah, they were turning. They were clicking.
I hear the little for the little mice.
So we hope you enjoyed our podcast this week. Please leave a comment down below, or you can email us at jen@pudgypicker.com. Leave the comment down below if you have any questions, any comments. You can follow me on Twitter under The Pudgy Picker. And we will see you next week. You have anything else to say, Kimberly?
No.
Okay, then say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.